Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss, to wrap up the season 2, the Peacemaker. At least I am. I know, Brittany, you did not watch it, but I watched every episode, all 8 of them. I have thoughts on the entire season, so we will talk about that a little bit later on. But first off, we want to start out with Marvel had some news last weekend. Last weekend was New York Comic Con, and Marvel made some announcements about their TV and animation schedule for next year for the 2026 slate. And so, Brittany, let's get right to that and we'll get your thoughts on this. So, the first thing was Marvel announced that Wonder Man, which is, stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen, the second, yeah, who, of course, if you're a fan of superhero shows, he was in the Watchmen series on HBO. He, of course, was Black Manta for the Aquaman movies with Jason Momoa. He was in those 2 films. Now he's moving over to the MCU, and the series about his character, Simon Williams, Wonder Man, is now going to come out in 2026. We had heard for over a year now it was going to be December of this year. So now it's been pushed to January 27, 2026. It's 8 episodes. It's not clear if it's going to be 8 episodes like with a binge drop all at once, if it's going to be 8 consecutive weeks. That's probably not very likely given what Disney Plus has done lately with the MCU shows. But Brittany, so what do you think about this announcement that we're going to get the show, but we're going to get it a couple months later, or about 2 months later?
So given that I don't know anything about this character altogether, and I will admit, sadly, people don't come for me. I have not seen the other 2 projects that Yahya has been a part of. I've never seen the Watchmen series, or let alone the Watchmen movie. And I have not seen any of the Aquaman because I just refuse. I just refuse. But anyway, so I don't know what to expect. The fact that they pushed back to a January 2026 date as opposed to the previously announced December 2025 date really doesn't impact me a whole heck of a lot. It does raise some questions as to how well this show may actually be if, for one, they're pushing it back, and then 2, the possibility of dropping all episodes at once. So it just doesn't really feel promising. But now, granted, I have not seen Yahya perform in any of these movies. I don't know how he is as a superhero, but I mean, I'll give anything a chance, honestly. Like I try to come in with an open mind. I don't try to expect too many things. I am looking forward to seeing Ben Kingsley again as Trevor Slattery. We all love the former Mandarin, quote unquote Mandarin. But I'm a huge fan of Ben Kingsley, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him reprise his role as Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this show. It's a character, Wonder Man's a character I don't know a ton about, but they did release a trailer. I guess what you call it is a teaser trailer they dropped over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you had a chance to watch that, Brittany, but it looks like a unique idea where in this storyline, Wonder Man was the name of a movie character. And if you're watching us now on YouTube, you can see we have the poster up here, which is a cover of a fake Hollywood Reporter, which says Hollywood experiencing superhero fatigue. Basically,
is it time to hang up the capes?
Time to hang up the capes is what it says, which is, apropos for what's happening in our world where superhero movies are not as popular as they were 5, 6, 7, even 10 years ago. And, but the storyline, from what I can tell from the trailer, is there's this movie character from like 30 years ago that this young kid grew up watching, and they're going to do a reboot. And so he is auditioning to play the part of Wonder Man. And I think he's going to get the role. And I think he's going to get the powers. I think he's a regular guy who gets some powers and becomes Wonder Man. And that's the extent of it. I think it looks fun. It's supposed to be a comedy. I've heard that Ed Helms from the Office fame, he's going to be a part of this show. Although
the Nard Dog?
Yeah. Apparently he's going to play Yahya's agent in the show, or Simon Williams' agent.
Yeah. I could totally see that.
So I think it'll be a fun one. We'll definitely talk about it in late January or early February, whenever it drops. But that was the first like big news nugget they dropped on last weekend.
Mhm,
Um, the next thing we talked about was Daredevil Born Again season 2. We knew this was coming. One of the major parts of this is the fact that Kristen Ritter, who played Jessica Jones in the Netflix series, she's reprising her role in season 2 of Daredevil.
mhm,
Again, I think
yep.
maybe other characters from the Defenders show are probably going to reprise their role. What do you think about um, the second season of Daredevil Born Again coming in March of 2026?
Man, it better be better than the first season. I'm sorry. The I loved the Netflix Daredevil. I was a late bloomer to it, just like many, many things here that we review on the Watchers in the Basement, but I loved the Netflix Daredevil. So I was very excited, of course, when Born Again was announced and we're hearing all this talk about, oh, it's going to be bigger and better and darker and what have you than what you have seen before. And I felt like I was rewatching season 8 of Game of Thrones. I was horribly disappointed. Now, that's not to take away from Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock. I still love him. I think he's fantastic in the role. But the show looked like a Disney product and it was very disturbing to me. It was just not well done. Towards the end, yeah, it got a little bit better, but
Yeah,
overall, I need season 2 to be better from the jump. From that first scene of season 2 episode 1. It needs to grab you, it needs to be good. Now, I've also heard, in addition to Kristen Ritter reprising her role as Jessica Jones, which I think she's cool. I like her as a role, but the issue I had with everyone in the Defenders is like they had no real chemistry together. That was my drawback from everything. I think everyone does well solo in their respected TV series, but together I just felt like they did not have that natural chemistry. So, in addition to Kristen Ritter returning as Jessica Jones, I have also heard that Matthew Lillard from Scream series, he's also Shaggy in Scooby Doo, he supposedly is going to be the new villain to Wilson Fisk's as he's mayor, of course. So Matthew Lillard supposedly is going to be the big bad, which that makes me very curious as to how he's going
yeah,
to adapt as a character of a more villainous persona. Because I mean, I've never seen the Scream movies. I'm not into horror. That's just not my deal. I'm very curious how he is going to perform in Daredevil Born Again.
yeah. That it's interesting because his name wasn't really mentioned a ton at the
No, it's a
con over
rumor
the
though, for
weekend.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think he's a part of it. I think he
Yeah.
was cast for that role, but
Yeah.
we shall see. Now at the con, they did show footage, or they showed a trailer to the people in attendance. It was not released online. I'm sure somewhere someone has a bootleg copy of it that's online somewhere.
In pieces
Uh,
on TikTok
yeah,
somewhere. Justin and I are not on TikTok, so we'll probably see it like normal people on
yeah,
Facebook, reels later on, like 2 weeks later. So yeah.
yeah. So, yeah. So in a little bit, we're going to rank and we're going to give our thoughts on the 2025 slate of Marvel, which did include Daredevil season one. It was not my favorite. Spoiler alert. So,
Yeah, not my
we'll get to
favorite.
that. So I gotta say, honestly, I'm not really looking forward to season 2. I will, of course, watch it. I'm sure we will review it. I
Yep.
doubt we're gonna do week to week for that show like we did for season 1. I really doubt that's gonna happen. But, yeah, I'll give it another shot. But, yeah, I didn't love season 1. So season
So
2 coming,
disappointed.
yeah, season 2, March 2026. So
Yep.
it was now as far as something that is exciting, I think for everyone, X-Men 97 season 2 drops summer of 2026. Brittany, we loved season 1. Hell, we had like 4 or 5 watchers for every episode as we reviewed the season of X-Men '97, the first season.
Hell yeah.
What's your hype level for, season 2 like?
I'm looking forward to it, of course. This obviously resonates with my childhood. My only concern, I can't remember what I read previous about Bo DeMaio's involvement with season 2, how much of a hand he had in the storytelling, the writing, and so on and so forth, because obviously he is no longer a part of that project anymore because of the fallout with, I can't remember if it was Marvel itself or Disney or the two, right? But I'm curious as to what the storyline is going to look like. Again, how much of Bo's influence is in this season, and are we bringing back Gambit? Damn it! I need my Cajun boy back. All right, I need him. I need him back. I need him back. Bring him back. Bring him back. But I am looking forward to it. I definitely will do a rewatch of season 1 before season 2 premieres. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 also. That'll be a fun one. We'll definitely be reviewing that next summer on here on the Watchers in the Basement. The next thing up is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is getting a season 2. It comes out fall 2026. Season 1 dropped actually January of this year. That show is excellent. I think I did a pod about it. I think I was the only person who watched it on our group, but I definitely talked about it at some point along the way. I know it's been a long year, and
Oh
I can't remember
God, yes, it
everything.
had.
Yeah, but Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is very good, and it is not an MCU project. There are moments that are very much MCU like, except for there are variations of what happens, and it's almost like the best version of What If that's not called What If in a lot of
Hmm,
ways, if that makes sense for you.
yeah,
Because, for example, we know in the MCU that Peter Parker's mentor is Tony Stark.
right.
In your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it's not Tony Stark. But things happen in a very similar way, and it actually is made to look just like how it looks in the MCU in live action,
Interesting.
but
But
it's
it's
not.
not part
It's
of the
different. It's a
MCU.
different, not a part of the MCU.
Okay,
Although
interesting.
Charlie Cox does voice Daredevil in the show, we do have all kinds of, Captain America's in it, Iron
Yeah.
Man's in it, uh,
Okay.
Doctor Strange is a part of it. So, um, it's loaded with Marvel characters, but it is a very good show, and I'm looking forward to season 2. Brittany, any thoughts on that?
Haven't watched season 1, so I'm
That's
happy for you, Justin,
yeah,
the lone watcher for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm
gotcha.
happy for you that it's getting another season
Yeah,
and that you will get to review it for us.
yeah. Hopefully, we can get somebody else to join me and give it a watch because it's
We'll
definitely worth your time. It's a good show.
we'll coerce Frank to jump on the
We'll see.
bandwagon for that.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So, the final thing they announced was Vision Quest. This show has been in the works for a little while now. It's been rumored for a
Mhm.
long time, actually. Um,
Long, long time.
but here it is. Vision Quest is the third and final show in the trilogy that started with WandaVision, went to
Mm.
Agatha all along. Now we're wrapping this up with Vision Quest. It's not clear. There might be more than one season, but we know for sure season one. Well, no, we don't know for sure. We know that they listed that season one will come out in 2026, which I assume will be late 2026. Now they've got a big thing happening at the end of 2026, which we'll talk about in a little bit. I doubt they're going to happen at the same time. So I would not be surprised if this show gets kicked to 2027.
That
But this show is, I think, it's pretty exciting because it's like I said, it's the third film in this trilogy. It starts with WandaVision. You've got Paul Bettany returning to play the White Vision, which we met in WandaVision, and we also have James Spader returning as Ultron. Several other of the AI characters that Tony Stark created are also involved in this show, from what I understand. And again, this is a show that they showed for the people who were in attendance at New York Comic Con. They got to see a little snippet, a little teaser, a little sizzler kind of trailer for the season that's upcoming. That has not released online to my knowledge, but looking forward to this one. Brittany, any thoughts you have on Vision Quest?
I'm just curious how in the world they're gonna bring back Ultron, right? I mean,
Yeah,
Ultron, it was an AI just like Vision, well, I say Vision, Jarvis was, but I'm very curious about that. So this show does intrigue me for sure. I love me Paul Bettany. Yes, bring back Paul Bettany. And I'm hoping because the fact that we have Vision Quest happening, are we going to see a return of Wanda Maximoff? Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
Will she finally make her return? I mean, we've got the hints. We have the hints.
yeah.
Obviously, her husband is getting back his show. We obviously saw in a way one of her twin sons get a show. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, let's just bring the family back together. Let's just bring all the Maximoffs back together. Bring back Wanda. Bring back my girl. But no, Vision Quest, looking forward to it for sure. I will tune in. I have no idea what sort of story they're going to tell with this, and they're bringing in other AIs and Dummy, poor Dummy. I think that's so sweet. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just can't imagine what the story is going to look like and what may unfold.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be. The thing about these shows is if you've listened to our show or watched us over the last year or so, I've been pretty down on the Disney Plus product, and
No.
I still have hope for some of this stuff. This is one of the ones I still have hope for, and I hope they can deliver something. Because honestly, I feel like they should just go away from the shows and just stick with doing a special. Keep the Marvel Cinematic Universe cinematic. Keep it in the theaters. That's the best way to go. But
I can't believe you did that.
no,
Anyway.
that's it's called the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a reason. It's not the Marvel Television Universe. But
it sounded like another slogan in my head. Sorry. Continue, please.
Yeah,
we're not here to talk about that.
No. I wouldn't be talking about that if that's what you're thinking about. Yeah. So now that's just the TV and animation slate they mentioned. Now the one thing they did not mention is the Punisher is supposed to have a special next year, and did a little bit of research, and it's still supposed to happen next year. Now I'm not sure when it's going to drop, but we do know that the Punisher is going to be in one of the two big Marvel movies that come out next year. Spider-Man Brand New Day, which drops July 31st, 2026. I guess we don't know it's rumored that Frank Castle will be a part of that show or part of that movie. So you would assume the special will come out before July 31st. Brittany, any thoughts on the Punisher special? Do you think we'll see the Punisher in Daredevil? We saw him in season 1, not a ton, but we did see him.
I feel like I'm not going to worry too much about that Punisher special just because it had already previously been announced. Whereas with these other Marvel projects had not officially been announced. So I feel like it's still going to happen, whether it gets pushed back from the original date that it said it would. That remains to be seen because that just seems to be a thing, period, with production. So I'm not worried about it. I am looking forward to it. I hope it's going to be incredible because if there's one thing that was consistent with characters from the Netflix era of television series, Punisher was solid through and through. I did enjoy season 1 far more than I did season 2, but he's solid. Like John is just an incredible actor, and it's like he was born to play Frank Castle. So I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think what's supposedly kind of special about this special is the fact that John Bernthal is the writer of the special. So when you have the actor writing, also writing the story for his character, obviously his most recognizable character is Frank Castle. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it turns out. I hope it comes out. I think if it doesn't come out before Spider-Man Brand New Day and he's in that movie, I think that's going to be kind of a missed opportunity unless it's going to be like a prequel, but then there was the Netflix show that lasted 3 seasons, right?
2
seasons. Okay. So
2 seasons.
Yeah. So we'll see how that all plays out. The final thing that Marvel has next year is Avengers Doomsday, of course, December 18th, 2026. So that, by my math, that's 8 projects in 2026. And they had 8 projects this year. Now, we thought they were going to have 9 because originally Wonder Man, like I said earlier, was going to be a December 2025 release. So, Brittany, that got me to thinking, hey, so now that Marvel's done with their offerings for 2025, let's kind of give a letter grade on the 8 projects as a whole. And then we can talk about maybe some of our favorites and maybe least favorites if you want to. So the 8 projects they released in 2025, there were 5 that were TV/animation. There are 3 films, of course. We reviewed all 3 of those, of course, here on the Watchers in the Basement. Brittany, give me a letter grade for Marvel's 2025. So basically we'll go from A+ all the way to F. That's the spectrum where did the 2025 Marvel slate land, or where did it grade out for you?
I'm going to give it. I'm kind of torn between a C plus, and a B minus. I'm kind of want to lean more to a C plus, just because. Just because.
Yeah,
There were some things here. I mean, I saw the majority
yeah,
of of these items, with the exception of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which you keep professing is excellent. So I'm going to
yeah.
take your word for it. But I was not really blown away by
Mhm.
anything.
Well, you know what? Before you share more of your thoughts, let me do a
Yeah.
better job of hosting, and let me list the 8 shows because not every maybe I'm sure not everyone has committed to memory what Marvel put out in 2025. Let me run down in, chronological order. You have Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man season 1. It dropped January 29th of this year, followed by Captain America: Brave New World, which was in theaters February 14th. Then we had Daredevil: Born Again season 1, which dropped on Disney Plus on March 4th, followed up by Thunderbolts: The New Avengers, which came into theaters on May 2nd. Then we had Ironheart, which we reviewed here. It dropped on Disney Plus on June 24th. Fantastic Four: First Steps was the next thing on the slate, July 2025 or July 25th of 2025. Eyes of Wakanda came in August 1st. And then finally, Marvel Zombies, which we reviewed recently, dropped on September 24th. So those are the 8 projects. So Brittany, you said C plus, B minus. You're sticking with a C plus?
I think I'll stick with the C plus. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, with the exception of not watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I have seen everything else. And again, I was not particularly blown away by any one of these installments. Sorry. There's good parts. There's good parts in each one of the movies or TV shows and what have you. It's just as an overall, I just wasn't like, oh my God, can you believe how good blank was? You see what I'm saying? So that's just kind of
Yeah.
where I sit. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, so it's interesting you said C plus, B minus because I was thinking B minus the whole time because
Okay.
while I agree with you, like I think Thunderbolts is great. I think Thunderbolts is honestly one of the Marvel's best movies. I think it's like a top 10 to 15 movie in my mind. I think it's excellent. And I think it's a crime that that movie did not do better financially at the box office because it was so good. It was trying to connect
Mhm,
what has been,
mhm.
phases 4 and 5 have not been great. And that movie did its damnedest to like
Yes.
connect, bring connection to the interconnected universe that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that which, since 2020 has not been very connected. So,
Mhm. That's fair.
um, that movie, honestly, I think is the best superhero movie of the year. I love Superman. Superman's my favorite character, but like honestly, rewatchability, Thunderbolts is just a better movie. It's a better film. I yeah, I don't.
I can
There's no
I can
parts
see
of the
that.
movie where I kind of groan or go, man, that joke didn't land or this isn't good. Like it's pretty solid all the way through.
I can agree with that for sure.
Yeah,
I out of the 8 listed, Thunderbolts was definitely the on the higher end for me
yeah,
with how much I enjoyed it. I think I told y'all in our pod for Fantastic Four, at some point I nearly fell asleep during the movie, so it just wasn't landing for me. Fantastic Four, still good movie, great cinematically, looked fantastic. I think the chemistry with the actors was very well done, but Thunderbolts has that what do you call it? Ragtag kind of, just they're
yeah.
just misfits, and I can appreciate that. It still didn't like fully wow me, I guess you could say, but for what we did get this year from Marvel, that is definitely at the top of the list.
Mhm.
Brave New World tried. I really wanted to like it. And that was tough. Daredevil, y'all already know my thoughts on Daredevil. Eyes of Wakanda and Marvel Zombies is like it's okay. It's fine. No big deal.
Yeah,
Nothing crazy. I appreciate the animation side of it. I like how Marvel is tapping into the animation side of storytelling. But I actually up there for me too is Ironheart. I really did actually enjoy Ironheart. I think the casting was great. I think the storytelling was really good too. And the effects and whatnot. I thought it was really good, but it still just didn't fully blow me away. And I think that's what I was kind of hoping to be blown away.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think obviously Thunderbolt's my number one.
Yeah.
I think there's two special projects in this class, and I think it's obviously Thunderbolts and then Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Those are the two best things they put out all year. My worst, obviously, is Daredevil Born Again season one. I did not like that show at all.
Damn.
But see, after that, to me, 3 through 7 is very close. None of it
Mm,
is that bad. I mean, like,
yeah.
we just reviewed Marvel Zombies recently, and I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just to me, it's like it's hard to get me excited about characters meeting in this alternative world when they've never met in the MCU, in the main
Yeah.
universe. So like that was the drawback of that show. I mean, the animation was awesome. The storyline was actually pretty cool, but it's just like I didn't have a reason to care. And if I don't care, and I'm a super fan, you're in trouble, like, but as far as the other projects, like I thought Ironheart was way better than I expected. I
Mhm.
thought it was going to be fine, but I thought it was really good.
Thought
I
it
think
paced well.
Captain America: Brave New World, I think, is on the lower end. It's probably like number 6 or so or 7 for me. It was a disappointment. That was not a fun movie. It's been on Disney Plus for months now, and I haven't had the urge at all to even turn it on. Like it. I thought the fight with Red Hulk and Captain America was awesome. I thought that was the best part of the movie. The rest of the movie's pretty rough to get through.
Yeah.
I liked Fantastic Four much more than you did. Although I
Yeah, you
saw
did.
it in theaters 3 times, and I could say every time I saw it, I liked it less. So,
Oh.
whereas, like, Superman, every time I saw it, I kinda liked it more.
Mm.
And Thunderbolts, every time I saw it, I liked it more. This movie, it by the 3rd time, I was like, "Yeah, I don't know about this one." Like, I think it's fine. It's
Mhm.
middle of the MCU at best, which that's not bad. Like, there's a lot of really good movies in the MCU.
Mhm.
You know there's probably 20 or so that are excellent films, and this is, like, amongst those, like, in that area. So,
Yeah.
but,
Okay.
yeah, that I think that kinda wraps it up as far as
So
Ice Wakanda is pretty good. Ice Wakanda also is one of those things where it's
yeah.
like, it just they just kinda dropped it, and it didn't I mean, it had the history of the Black Panther and, like, of Wakanda, which I thought was cool, but, it felt like there needed to be more, and there may be another season, I don't know. I haven't really heard if there's gonna be a season 2 or
Mhm.
what's next in that regard, but, it wasn't a bad project. So,
No,
all in
no.
all, B minus year. I mean, I think whenever you're putting out so many projects that they're doing every year now, it's hard to bat 1,000. It's hard to be A plus
Yeah,
across the board, like, it's just
for sure.
I don't think it's really possible.
For
So,
sure.
but I do say, like, if if the 2020 slate is not higher regarded for both of us, then they're actually in trouble because 2026, you've got 2 major movies. You have a Spider-Man movie, and you've got an Avengers movie, and
Yeah,
those have to make billions of dollars, and
yeah.
I still think they will, but, like, I gotta say my confidence is kinda shaken obviously, my days of being a box office prognosticator, there never were many of those days, but, like, I don't think that's gonna be my future profession because, I definitely don't know what the viewing public wants to go see as far as, in the theaters. So,
Well, there you have it. A B minus for Justin and a C plus for me for the
yeah.
2025 MC, well, Marvel content.
Yeah. So let us know in the chat, if you're in the live chat right now with us, let us know what your grade is for the Marvel 2025 slate. If you're joining us later, let us know. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, let us know that way. The comment section there works too. Be sure to chime in.
Let us know.
So let us know. And now it's
Justin,
my time. Yeah,
yeah, I
go
was going
ahead.
to say, will you let us know about your thoughts on Peacemaker?
Yeah, let's get to Peacemaker.
Let's
So
do it.
the season wrapped up last week. It was an 8-episode season. Earlier this year, after the first episode, I did a quick review, talked about it. Brittany and I, we both talked about it a little bit. And yeah, so the season wrapped up last week. Another great season of TV for Peacemaker. Um, but I think people are kind of down on it because the finale was a little subpar. And I think,
Ooh.
yeah, like, so it's 8 episodes. The first 7 were excellent. And honestly, episodes 5, 6, and 7 could have been season finales and maybe should have been season finales. So that might be also part of the problem. But also the season, most of the episodes were like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, maybe 40. And the
Okay.
finale was a full 58 minutes. And you're like, oh, and actually the finale didn't feel like it was congruent with the rest of the season. Like the season had a rhythm, and it was like, even though they were short episodes, they were well constructed episodes in my mind.
Mhm.
And the finale was kind of meandering. You had characters doing things that were uncharacteristic maneuvers, like changing on a dime from what they believed in, what you thought they believed in. It kind of
Hmm.
made it tough. I mean, the ending was very cool. I'm going to get into all this stuff, but um, and the ending is kind of what we think will lead to other DCU projects, like the next Superman movie, or the
Mm.
sequel to Superman, which is Man of Tomorrow, which comes out in 2027. There's a Supergirl movie coming out next summer that maybe ties into this. There's a Lantern show that comes out in early 2026, apparently, that I think might tie into this. So, um,
Mm.
it ended well, but like the finale was not the best, and a lot of people are very critical of that episode. And it's also just the people are very hyperbolic. It's
Mm.
instant reaction, and I think there's also obviously an echo chamber online of people that just want to. And honestly, I think people want to kind of bring James Gunn down because he's the guy for DC. And
Yeah.
if you like him, that's great. If you don't, it's pretty tough because the DCU has had 3 projects so far: Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker season 2.
Mhm.
And all 3 of those are written and directed by James Gunn. Now, he didn't direct every episode of Peacemaker season 2, and he didn't direct all the episodes of Creature Commandos, but it's his words, it's his writing, it's his thoughts, it's his vision of these characters that is out there. And if you don't like the James Gunn aesthetic, if you don't like the jokes, which some of the jokes didn't work for me even, so I get that, but it's definitely his world right now. And I can see where people are kind of waiting for, any chance that he might stumble, they can jump on him and go, "Oh yeah, you're not that great. Your batting average is not 1,000 anymore." And
Mm.
that's certainly the case with this season. I thought season 1 was better. I thought season 1
Okay.
like just looked better. I think part of it was because like James Gunn's he's pretty like spread thin as far as like,
Sounds like
because
it.
he's writing all these projects, and like he's also co-running the studio, DC Studios. Um, I
There's
think he
gotta be
needs,
burnout somewhere.
yeah. I mean, like I think I mentioned this before when we did our Superman movie or review, or maybe it was the first episode of Peacemaker. He wrote, like, there was one year where he wrote Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker season 2. The next year he shot all that stuff, and then this year he released it.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, and then also you're casting for other movies, and other kind of scripts are coming in. You're working on, he's going to write and direct Superman World of Tomorrow, or I mean Man of Tomorrow. I think, yeah, it's not called Superman yet. It's just called Man of Tomorrow. So we'll see.
Mm.
Um, obviously Man of Tomorrow is one of Superman's monikers. So, um,
Mhm.
although I think it will be a reference to Lex Luthor. But speaking of Superman, I thought Superman was for sure was going to be in this show, and he was not in the show. Spoiler alert: he did not appear in season 2, and that's very surprising because there were shots on the internet of photos of David Corenswet in his Superman suit on the set of Peacemaker taking photos of John Cena, and
Misdirection.
it just happened to be the fact that they were shooting in the same location because they were shooting Peacemaker
Ah,
season 2, and around the same time they were shooting Superman. They're
okay,
both
that makes more
doing both
sense.
in Georgia, in the Atlanta area. So,
That makes more
um,
sense.
turns out that's why that was the case. So
Mm.
so for me, there was a little bit of letdown, the fact that Superman wasn't a part of it. I mean, honestly, like, I don't think he needed to be, but,
But
that's
you
also,
wanted him to be.
I definitely wanted it, but, that's also part of James Gunn too, is he is a person who is very online, and he's also
Mhm.
very hyperbolic about his own stuff, and I get why, people, you don't get to where he got without having a healthy ego or having like, understanding self-promotion. But I do think that like the reason why there's been so much blowback online to the finale is because I mean, there's like I said, I mentioned a number of reasons, but one of the reasons is the fact that James Gunn really overhyped episodes 6, 7, and 8 because the first 5 episodes of season 2 of Peacemaker were available to, influencers and to critics. And so they watched all these episodes before the season came out, before people like us had a chance to watch it on HBO Max. And but he kept talking in interviews that, I'm holding back 6, 7, and 8 because like what happens in those episodes is so crazy that like, we don't want it to get out. We don't want to spoil what's coming in the DC universe. And I mean, definitely big stuff happened in episodes 6, 7, and 8, but I don't think that um, I don't think that the shows delivered on the hype that he kind of put out there. So
Damn,
um yeah,
that's rough. Coming
that's
from you, like that's rough.
well, I don't like for example, one of the things James Gunn said was so he directed episode 6 and episode 8, two of the 3 final episodes, and he kept saying about how they were his favorite things he's ever done. And you're like, "Whoa," like, because his Guardian movies are pretty good, but then you have to kind of parse words and go, "Okay, he said favorite, not the best," because I mean, and
Mm,
when you watch the episodes, if you know the story, of Peacemaker in the season, you understand why he said favorite because there's a lot of elements that are very personal to him
ah,
that might not necessarily be picked up by everyone who's watching this.
got it.
So,
Got it.
but then I do think conversely, I think there are people who are, I mean, who definitely will never watch our podcast or listen to our podcast. There are people online there are people who don't look into this stuff and they just watch a show when it's on HBO Max or Prime or whatever and just move on with their life. And those people, they may not see this show for a year or 2 or who 6 months from now. And they're
Mhm.
probably gonna watch the season and go, pretty good. Like they're not gonna have they're not gonna be,
They're gonna
they're not
accept it for what it is. They're not gonna
right.
deep dive.
Right, they're not gonna go, "Well, I thought Superman was gonna be in there, and I thought this was gonna happen, and I thought, oh, what about Batman?" They're not even they don't even know or they don't even care to put that out there.
Mhm.
So I think it's also just expectations versus, like, what we got, and what we got
Yeah.
wasn't bad. I mean, the finale, I rewatched it today, and, like, it's a fine episode. It's just, like, it's not as good as the 3 previous episodes before it, and the whole season kind of 1 through 7 were, like, cohesive, and then 8 was kinda like, eh, like, it wrapped up the story that was told 1 through 7, but it did it in a very odd way, and,
So,
yeah,
I have a question. Obviously, I've never watched Peacemaker. I
yeah,
know nothing about these characters other than the things that you have shared with me
right.
one-on-one as well as here on the podcast. Could it be a situation where it the finale was being rewritten and the original
No.
idea just fell apart, or this is just intended?
No, I think it was intended. I think it was
Mm.
intended, yeah, yeah, so let me kinda get into the specifics of the season. So, I talked about, like I said, months ago, I did a review of the 1st episode, and I'm just gonna kinda pick up from there, the storyline of Christopher Smith, AKA Peacemaker. So, after what happened in season 1, he helps save the world with his friends, the 11th Street Kids, and we come back, and in season 2, he wants to be, he's like, "You know what? I saved the world. I wanna be a hero." He's trying to, he's reforming from what happened in The Suicide Squad, which what happened in that movie is very important to season 2 because there are characters who are in that movie who return for season 2. But, in that movie, spoiler alert, he at the end of the movie, he kills Rick Flag Jr., right? And it's kind of like a double cross situation. Rick Flag Jr. played by Joel Kinnaman, and he kills him because Amanda Waller, that was her instructions, and he's following the rules, right? He's following his orders. Kills um kills Rick Flag Jr. Okay, so and then he survives. He actually gets shot. And you think he dies in the movie by at the hands of Bloodsport, who's played by Idris Elba. He actually survives. We see him, uh, return in the first season of Peacemaker, and he becomes a different person because of the friends he meets along the way, and they become this family. Well, they save the world. They save the world from an alien invasion in season 1. He returned for season 2, and he's ready to be a superhero. And the Justice Gang, as we saw in Superman, they're in the world. He goes in for an interview with them. They totally disregard him. They totally trash him. And so he's rejected by the Justice Gang. He's not going to be a hero in the way he wants to be. And then something else that he wants, probably more than anything in the world, is Amelia Harcourt, who is played by Jennifer Holland. That is James Gunn's wife. He wants to be romantically involved with her, and she is not emotionally available, as she kind of says in fewer words. And that leads him, he's now been rejected by her. He's been rejected by, by what he hopes is like his profession or his purpose in life. And so, he gets drunk. So it so happens that he, as some people do, not anybody I know, but there are people that have a quantum unfolding chamber, which is a portal that can take you to 99. There's 99 doorways that lead to 99 other realities or other worlds. So he gets drunk. He goes into the portal with his eagle, and his eagle named Eagly, and they wind up in a universe that's very similar to his own universe, except for it's much better because his life in his own world, he grew up with a father who was a racist, he ended up killing his own father. He was forced to kill his own father, which if you see season 1, you'll see why.
As you do.
He was forced to kill his brother as a kid. His dad had his 2 sons fight. Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker, kills his brother Keith, who's like his older brother, his best friend. He kills him when he's like 9 or 10 years old. So he, all he knows is death in his world. And so he goes to this alternate dimension, which we'll call Earth 2. So his universe is Earth 1. This is now Earth 2. And he goes to this universe and he sees his dad. And he freaks out because his dad is alive in this universe, whereas he's dead in Earth 1. So he runs away, goes back to Earth 1, and he tells everyone that, hey, like, here's what happened. And, I've got to, yeah, this is out there. This is crazy, but like, I may end up going back. He's like, I need to find out, does Harcourt want me? If she doesn't want me, then I have nothing left to live for here. I'm going to go to this other universe. So he goes to the other universe when he's rejected by her once again. And in the other universe, like I said, his father's alive. His brother's alive. And his brother is played by David Denman, who we talked about before, who played Roy on The Office. He is he's the brother, and the father is played by Robert Patrick from Terminator 2 fame. And the three of them are a team called the Top Trio. They're a superhero team of a family of, they love each other. It's like it seems like it's the perfect world, right? Well, while he's in that world, his doppelganger, the Peacemaker from Earth 2, finds him, and our Peacemaker, from Earth 1 is trying to get away, and he accidentally kills Peacemaker 2. So now we got a guy who is in his world. He's killed his brother, and he's killed his dad, and he killed Rick Flag Jr., who was, kind of a guy he looked up to, was like the team captain of the Suicide Squad. And now he's gone to this new world, and the first thing he does is kill himself, right? Kill the alternate version of him. So, but no one knows that he killed the other Peacemaker. So he goes back to Earth 2, and he starts trying to live the life of this guy who he he's Peacemaker, but like in this other world, he's not the same person, obviously. He is like, while the alternate world, Earth 2, looks like it's the best dimension ever, which he says for various reasons over and over, because in this world, one of the things is the fact that Hardcore is in love with Peacemaker. And he's apparently like broken it off with her. And like the Peacemaker of Earth 2 is, he doesn't care about her at all, or doesn't seem to care that much about her. Well, now this is his chance. If he can't have Harcourt from his Earth, he'll have his shot at her in this other world. So he meets up with her, and of course they hit it off, and she's completely different because Harcourt in Earth 1 is, she's this like badass, like agent. She's very physical, like she's like a soldier. Whereas in Earth 2, Harcourt is this, she's very feminine, very girly, and very like, she's like the opposite of what Harcourt is. And so he hooks up with her, and he's got that life going, and he's superhero with his brother and his dad, and everything seems like it's perfect, right? And but then as the episodes progress, you start to notice, like, man, there's a lot of white people here. There's like no people of color at all. And then
Oh Lord.
we find out in episode 6, there's a reason for that, because in this universe, the Nazis won World War II. And the reveal of that is he sees the American flag that has, instead of the star, it's got
The
instead
swastika?
of the stars, it's got the swastika. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did this
So
remind me of The Man in the High Castle?
yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, continue.
So a lot of people saw it coming, because in the comics, that Earth is actually called Earth X, which James Gunn never calls it that. He just calls it Earth 2. In fact, in the show, they never even like label the Earths. They just, there's the characters that are in Earth 1, there's the characters in Earth 2. So anyway, we find
Hmm.
out that Earth 2 is this place where the Nazis won World War II. And yeah, it's not so perfect. And
Mm.
so
Mm-mm-mm.
the 11th Street Kids, which is Christmas friends from Earth 1, they decide they're gonna try to save him from this other Earth. They want him back. They go get him, and they go to find him, and that's when we really see, like, the unsettling part of Earth 2, in the fact that you've got Adebayo, who's his best friend. Well, she's a black woman. Danielle Brooks plays the character, and there's a scene where she's walking down the street, and she just goes for a walk while she's in Earth 2,
Oh
and
no.
everyone that drives by or walks by, like, just stares at her, just locks in on her.
Oh
And
no.
David Denman is driving. He plays Keith Smith, the brother. He drives by, he sees her, he slams on the brakes, gets out of his truck, and he goes, "One of them got out, a black," and they all start chasing. And that's how
Oh.
episode 6 ends. And you're like, wow, that is a crazy, intense, like, cliffhanger kind of ending, right?
Oh
So
no.
yeah, so Brittany, that's what you're missing with just that. I mean, like, so what do you think so far? I mean, there's plenty more for me to explain, but what do you think so far?
Sounds intense. It's giving me a mixture of like The Boys, because The Boys deals a lot with very similar current events going on in our world, right? Obviously it's all satire and whatnot, but
Yeah,
this also again reminds me of what I mentioned earlier, The Man in the High Castle, where Nazi Germany won the world war and has influenced America, and everyone is still, believing in 1,000-year Reich and all this other stuff. That's intense, Justin. Like that sounds gnarly.
yeah,
Gnarly. Looking in the chat real quick. Shout out to the last for joining us here, and shout out to King B Johnson. And I saw Derpy Entertainment here earlier joining us. We appreciate you all taking time out of your day to hang out with us here on the Watchers in the Basement to talk about things. Obviously, we're talking about Peacemaker, and to answer the question for the chat can be about the entire season as well as the finale. So whatever floats your boat, we'd love to hear your thoughts and share what you think about Peacemaker season 2.
yeah. We're talking about the entire season. Um, yeah. So the stuff in Earth 2, like, for my money, like, I don't think they spend enough time in that universe. I mean, because, like, it's so shocking, but the season moves along so fast, and there is a good pace to the season. I will agree for the first 7 episodes. However, I feel like that reveal was big enough to be the main storyline for the whole season in my mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So, like I said, his friends, the 11th Street Kids, go to Earth 2 to try to find Chris. Now, the 11th Street Kids are composed of, as I mentioned, Amelia Harcourt. You have John Economos. You have Adebayo, his best friend. You have his other best friend, who Vigilante, played by Freddie Stroma. So, and then you also have Judo Master, who is not one of his friends, although later on he does become a part of. Team Peacemaker, and they all go to the world to, and they go for different reasons. Judo Master was actually following Peacemaker there because he's working for Argus, which is a government agency that's tracking Peacemaker. Argus is run usually by Amanda Waller, but at this point in the DCU, it's run by Rick Flag Sr. If you've been listening, Rick Flag Jr. died at the hands of Peacemaker. Rick Flag Sr., who's played by Frank Grillo, who we saw in Superman, who we heard the voice of in Creature Commandos, he is in charge of Argus, and so they're going after Peacemaker all season long. They're chasing into this other world also. They've sent Judo Master to do that. And Judo Master is a great character. Brittany, you should look up the character just so you can get a visual. He's played by I think the guy's name is Nut Lee. He's a very short Vietnamese man, but very athletic, very funny character. He's known for his hot Cheetos. He loves hot Cheetos, and he is
Okay.
a badass fighter. So all these characters are now in Earth 2 looking for Peacemaker for their own reasons. But Vigilante, who is one of the standouts of the season, he is also in search of himself. He wants to meet his doppelganger. He wants to meet the Earth 2 version of himself, which he does. And some of the best moments of the season are when he gets to go to his house in Earth 2 because he's like so like persnickety. He's like laughing about every little thing. Like, oh, he gets to he gets to his house and he's like, oh, like that yard ornament should have been like in his world it's a squirrel, but here it's like a beaver or something. Like he laughs at the silliest stuff. He goes into he lives with his mother in Earth 1. He also lives with his mother in Earth 2. He goes in the house and like he discovers that they have Cheerios, but Cheerios is spelled differently than it is in our world or in Earth 1. He thinks it's like hilarious. He goes to meet himself, and sure enough, the Earth 1 and Earth 2 vigilantes are identical. They have the same costume. They act the same way. The one difference they have is the fact that Earth 1 vigilante loves Peacemaker. Earth 2 does not. In fact, Earth 2, that's his
Mm.
his moral, his mortal enemy. They even do the Spider-Man meme and they even call it out. They're in costume and they point at each other. They say Spider-Man meme. Yeah, they do that. So Vigilante is definitely one of the comedic highlights of the season. Um,
Okay then.
yeah. And
The
again,
fact
you should
the
look that
fact
character up too. He's also a great character too.
I did. I just looked
Yeah.
him up. I just Googled him. The fact that you said persnickety on this podcast is what
Yeah.
I know that's something you would say to me in person, but the fact that you said it on the podcast, I think
Yeah,
is
no.
hilarious.
Yeah, no. But that's a great character. But so he goes to meet himself and that becomes part of his storyline as it plays out the rest of the next couple episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, music is a big part of James Gunn shows, movies and everything. Like as you know, obviously with the Guardians of the Galaxy films, you had the awesome mix volume 1, 2, and 3 for the movies, and those did really well. And he kind of became known as like the needle drop king for his movies, and music's always a big part of everything he does. And that's certainly the case in Peacemaker. That's certainly the case with season 2. You know, I talked about this in the first episode when I talked about the season premiere is the fact that this season had a new dance intro song, and it was "Oh Lord" by Foxy Shazam. We hear the song a couple times throughout the season. We even see them perform the song in the season finale. And the rest of the bands in the show are these like hair metal kind of bands that James Gunn loves. And these are hair metal bands that have continued to play, even though hair metal was like really popular in the late 80s, early 90s, but at least in America. Around the world, apparently it's still popular in some places like in Sweden and different parts of the country or parts of the world where that music still is I don't know if it's king, but at least it's like very popular. So he's constantly bringing on these different metal bands, and they're getting a lot of promotion. They their play numbers go up tremendously every week on Spotify if they make it on the show. So um but I do think that that's part of what people didn't like about the finale because there's so much music, there's so many montages, there's multiple kind of concert scenes, and I think that like all that stuff is great, but I think it was kind of like it. I don't know, it became like too much. It was too much of what James Gunn does. Like I think he needed to like
Mm,
to pare it
tone it
down.
down a bit.
Tone down a little bit. Yeah, he kind of went kind of hog wild in the finale
Mm,
with like all his like James Gunnisms. And I think like a little bit of that stuff, like when you
not the
do it,
isms.
yeah. Um, like if you kind of have to like there's a balance. And I think
Yeah.
he kind of like went off the deep end in the finale.
Mm.
Now, great, I like the music for the most part. I mean, all the songs in the shows are pretty good.
Could the finale have been the premiere of the next season?
It could have
Do you
been.
think
Yeah,
it could have
I
worked out
mean,
that way?
like I said, episodes 5, 6, and 7, all those could have been finales in their own way.
Mm,
Um, yeah, but, I mean, I understand why he did what he did with the finale, and I'll get to that here in a second, but I do think that, like, it did feel different. It didn't feel like it was
mm,
the same show, and I think that, anyone out there, if you're watching this and you watch the season, I think you'll probably agree with me, but if you don't, or, if you do or if you don't, let us know in the chat, let us know in the comments section below. We'd love to hear what you have to say or what you think about
for
this
sure.
season. Yeah. Um, one of the things the show really relied heavily on is flashbacks. In fact, I think every episode opened with a flashback scene, which you know, the one thing about the flashback scenes, and I'm not going to get into all of them, but like they all did a really good job of setting up the storyline for that episode. And the transition from the flashback scene to the opening song was always excellent. Like he and it there's usually some kind of action in between that, like, sets it up. It's always so well done. I think that, like, that stuff is, like, masterful. It's really well done. I mean, I think just watching the first, like, 5 minutes of every episode would be worth it even if you didn't know the story because it's just so well done to kinda get you into the show, and, like, the song was I mean, I think the Foxy Shazam song is really good. It's a really strong song. It's a song that I listen to. I've listened to a ton, not just on the show, but, like, it's just become a song that I've added to my Spotify list, like, I just listen to it all the time, it's such a great song, so, but, I think the highlight for the season is probably the acting of John Cena and Jennifer Holland. They're both excellent. I mean, the whole cast is really good, but they really shine in this season, and them coming together, because this at the beginning of the season, we were told about there was a scene that they met on a boat, and you're kinda led to believe that it was like a hookup, it was like a one night stand, and then it kinda didn't work out after that. You come to find out in the finale that they went on this boat as a rock cruise, and they saw the band Nelson, which I don't know if you're familiar with Nelson, Brittany, but they were pretty big in the late '80s, early '90s, I guess kinda when you were born, but they had a song called "After the Rain." Like, they're a hair metal band from Southern California. Well, they've
Okay.
continued to play since then, and the episode is titled "Full Nelson," which I think is funny because all of the titles like, we talked about Marvel Zombies a month ago or a few weeks ago. And remember how I told you, like, it's weird how the episodes were just like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4. There were no titles. What I do like about James Gunn is he has titles and they all they're either very punny or they're like they make sense.
Mm,
And like I said, the finale is called Full Nelson because they go to this Nelson show and it's a rock cruise and they're on the cruise and they're having a good time and they kind of have like their first like big kiss moment and then Harcourt like freaks out. And this is before the season kinda gets going, and she kinda runs off.
ah,
So that's how the
interesting.
season starts, yeah,
Okay.
and, but like I said, that's just one of the elements, like, James Gunn mixes in all these storylines with the music, with these flashbacks. He does a really good job of doing that, for example, another great flashback is, I mentioned Rick Flag Jr., right, who died
Mhm.
in the Suicide Squad movie. Well, we come to find out that Rick Flag Jr. was hooking up with Harcourt back in the day. They were like very good friends, but they were also hooking up. And so then you think about how the movie Suicide Squad played out, where you know Peacemaker kills Rick Flag Jr. and then Peacemaker season 1 happens, and Harcourt now is having to work with Peacemaker, this guy who killed her best friend and a sort of love interest. So you have that dynamic playing out. Then you have Rick Flag Sr. in the background. You know, he's tight with Harcourt, or at least he believes he is. And he's like, he doesn't know who killed his son until this season of the show. So you have all these like layers of things that happen. And by the way, in season 3, or I'm sorry, in episode 3 of this season, we see the fact that that Harcourt and Rick Flag Jr. were together right before he was sent off to Corto Maltese to where he was being killed by Peacemaker in the movie Suicide Squad. And we find out that or we see that Joel Kinnaman returns on Earth 2, he's also dating Harcourt because
Hmm.
she's been rejected by Peacemaker 2 in on Earth 2. But he's a very different character. He plays like a funny version of his character. He's a very like kind of dorky, like he's like just a guy that works at the office. He's not like the soldier and leader that he is in in Earth 1. So and Joel Kinnaman, I don't know if you're super familiar with him, but he like usually he kind of plays a cool guy. You know, he's not playing like a kind of a not really dorky, but kind of dorky, but like you just kind of have to see it honestly. Like if you're a fan of his work or familiar with him, it's like an opposite of what he usually plays in every movie you've ever seen him in. So pretty funny stuff to get like kind of a quasi actiony kind of star to kind of play a different type of character. So that's like I said, that's just like one, he's in like a couple of scenes in that episode, but really kind of like it kind of gives the show kind of a cool, like, oh, this is a little bit different. Like this is there's an unpredictability to this show that I think people feel where it's like, oh, you don't really know where this is going to go. And I think that's also why people maybe didn't like the finale because it seemed like the first 7 episodes were like, oh, I get it, I get it, I get it, I get it. And then like you get to the finale and you're like, oh, that's kind of not what I want. But
Mm, that's annoying. That sounds annoying. I mean, granted, I haven't like watched any of this, but just based on what you're talking, it's like a maybe not quite a bait and switch, but it's just something. It's like, but wait a minute, I thought it was going to do this,
yeah,
and it went
exactly.
that way, and that's very
Well,
very
one of the
annoying.
things that I was saying I thought was going to happen was Superman was going to appear. Well, so Superman does not appear. However, in episode 6, we do get a cameo by a very big character from the movie, and that's Lex Luthor. Now, if you
Ah,
saw the movie Superman, you know that Lex Luthor he ends that movie in Belle Reve, the prison in Louisiana. Well, with what's happening, because Peacemaker has this like portal where he can travel to other worlds, Argus and Rick Flag Sr., who's trying to find Peacemaker, because he's on this like revenge tour, but he also doesn't want what happened in Metropolis with that interdimensional rift to happen again. And so he thinks, okay, this guy has this like portal. We've got to find this guy before he destroys the universe. Like not
mhm.
only, of course, Rick Flag Sr. is obviously after Peacemaker because Peacemaker killed his son, but he's also using, the guise of like this guy could be dangerous to the whole world. So how is he going to find a guy with a portal? Well, he goes to Lex Luthor and asks for help, basically, which
Of course you
yes.
do.
And
Of
so,
course.
Lex is looking to make a deal because he wants to get out of prison.
Of course he
That
does.
doesn't happen. However, Lex's crew, some of the people we met from the movie, end up helping Rick Flag and Argus track down Peacemaker, and then eventually, you know, track down these other universes, and we get to like what happens at the end, where what the ultimate goal for or how the season resolves is they discover a universe. They call it Planet Salvation, and this is from the comics. And
No,
what happens is it's a world that it's an uninhabited world, at least as far as they know.
okay.
And their plan is to dispose of all the metahumans on this planet.
Of course.
So to get rid of them, because obviously they think the metahumans are going to take over and destroy the world. And as we know from Superman, the metahumans have been around for 300 years. So they're very much ingrained in the world. But Rick Flag Jr., along with Lex Luthor's kind of prodding and now his help, is that they're trying to get rid of metahumans. And so the way the show ends is we see Christopher Smith, Peacemaker, sent to this world where he's left on his own. Now, Peacemaker, by the way, is not a metahuman. In fact, he doesn't have any powers. He's a big,
He's
strong
a
guy.
guy.
Yeah. And he's left there without one of his helmets, which he has these helmets that do kind of give him sort of some powers. And he has like a suit that's pretty cool that can help him fly, but he doesn't have a suit. So he's just a man left alone in this world. And then you hear in the distance, like in the forest, there's like some monsters or something. And that's where the
Okay.
season ends, is he's left on this planet because Rick Flag Sr. wants to, further punish him and get revenge on what happened to his son. And
Of
so,
course he does.
yeah, it's just the thing is one of the problems with the finale and the last few episodes is like Rick Flag Sr., he just changes so quickly.
Mhm.
He goes from being this guy who's like, like he's not what you would call like a hero or a good guy, but he's also not like full on mustache twirling villain either. You know what I mean? Like, and then once he gets involved with Lex Luthor, it's like he completely flips that switch and is just like, oh, we're just, he becomes like the most evil person in the world. And
Damn.
it's silly because it's like he could just kill Peacemaker, like if he wanted to. Like
Yeah.
but his thing is like, oh, we're gonna test out this world we're gonna leave Peacemaker there and see how long he can survive on this world before
Mm,
we, send other metahumans there. And
I
then
see.
now the comic books, Planet Salvation, or it's called Salvation Run, was the comic book run. They actually it was the opposite. They put villains on this planet, and
Ah,
I've read the first comic. It's like a 7 or 8 issue run. It's pretty good. I think I'll probably end up finishing it, but I don't think it's going to be like what they're doing in the show because just like with Marvel, they use the comics as just kind of like a here kind of a guide, like here like,
okay.
but they don't want to. It's not a like word for word
Like
adaptation.
accurate, true
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
they just like
source.
like, "Here's the idea, but we're gonna flip it. Instead of it being villains who are trapped on this planet, we're gonna trap our heroes." Of course,
Got it.
Peacemaker is kind of an anti-hero. I mean, like, for us,
Right.
he's a hero, but to the rest of the world, and certainly for anyone who saw Suicide Squad, he's kind of a villain to anti-hero kinda character.
Mm,
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's how the season ends. It's a cool idea, but the rest of the show, like they resolve a lot of stuff in the finale. They, basically Harcourt gets together with Peacemaker, which is that's all he ever wanted. And then Team Peacemaker becomes like bigger than ever. They join this. They create this agency called Checkmate, which is also something from the comics, and they get new members of the team. So um, you've got Judo Master, who I mentioned, who kind of is a villain, but he becomes a good guy. You have Langston Fury, who's played by Tim Meadows, which I haven't mentioned yet, but Tim
Mm,
Meadows is an Argus agent who turns against Argus later on.
I love Tim
And
Meadows.
Tim Meadows has some of the funnier stuff in the season because
I should hope so.
yeah, so his character is afflicted with bird blindness,
I'm
which is
sorry, what?
yeah, so as I mentioned, Peacemaker has a pet eagle named Eagly, right?
Yeah.
And there's a part in the season where they're actively trying to go after Eagly, but
Okay.
because Langston Fleury has bird blindness, he thinks that Eagly is a duck or I can't remember what he said, a parrot. He's like it's a superpowered parrot or it's a
Oh,
duck, and of course
no.
everyone's like it's an eagle, it's a bald eagle, and he's like, oh, you're using my bird blindness against me. You're using my disability against me. Like it's just like a silly little thing. So,
That's great. I love that.
but he ends up on Team Peacemaker at the end, and so does Sasha Bordeaux, which I have not mentioned. Also, she is an Argus agent who we learned throughout the season is actually a cyborg. She was
Yeah.
an agent who was badly hurt, and they had to you know, stitch her back together. She's part woman, part robot. Although you don't really see the robotics, except for she has a kind of a robotic eye, and the fact that she can is like a perfect aim whenever she's shooting. So
Bullseye.
yeah, but even yeah, there you go. Calling back to Daredevil. But even like that character, so the whole season she's a member of Argus, and she's like kind of like Rick Flag Sr.'s right hand person. And then like she becomes flirty with him, and then they sleep together, and then she has a sudden change of heart at the end where she decides, oh no, like what they're doing is terrible because
As you do.
yeah, because with Peacemaker, he has this device where he can travel these dimensions. Well, Argus gets their hands on it and they go to these other dimensions. They're trying to find this salvation planet, right?
Mhm.
And they go to these other planets, and they're dangerous and people die. And
Yikes.
basically, these agents are sent out there to try to discover these worlds and see if they're inhabited it or whatever. And while these agents are dying, you have Rick Flag and the Lex Luthor crew, they're just like laughing. They're like doing cocaine off to the side. They're having the time of their life because they're using these agents as like fodder, and you're just like crash test dummies um, for this big plan that apparently is concocted by Lex and by Rick Flag Jr. or Rick Flag Sr. So Sasha Bordeaux, she's one of the agents who's actually in the field, and she's having to go to these crazy planets. Like they go to a Candyland planet where it looks like Candyland, the board game, except there's these little interdimensional imps that are like, I don't know, about a foot tall, and they're just killer little monsters. They try to kill everybody, and they end up killing a couple of the agents who are friends with these group of people. So that's why you see Langston Fleury and Sasha Bordeaux flip at the end and join Team Peacemaker because they realize like, hey, like, what are we doing? Like we're sacrificing ourselves for these guys who are off like doing coke and high fiving, So it's
Again, as you do.
yeah. Again, it's that's part of like it's disjointed about the season. It's just like that stuff. It just feels out of place, and you have like a lot of music montages where the music's fine, but it's like it's just the show goes so fast in that final episode, and even though the episode is like almost twice as long as a normal episode from the season, you, they don't. It's the pacing is like so much faster, and you don't get the satisfaction of a resolution for really anything. Like, and even like when like Peacemaker, he whenever he's like he gets with Hardcore, and it's like it's almost like a dream sequence because right after that they start forming this new group and they have their new friends and they're all happy, and then bam, we like flash forward to the end where he's going back to his hotel room and he gets like jumped, and they put a bag over his head, and then he wakes up and he's in this this salvation planet. So and like when I first saw the
This
episode,
is
I
a
was like,
wild show.
yeah, I was like, is this like a dream sequence or something? I don't know. It's kind of tough to like talk about all 8 episodes just by myself because like there's so much that happens with this show, but it's
Sorry.
definitely worth checking. No, and it's not your fault. But yeah, I don't know. It's maybe I've just been rambling for the last 20 minutes. I'm not sure, but I
A little bit.
try my best to like explain why break down this season. And like I said, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it. It's not the quality that season 1 was in my mind. And I think that if James Gunn maybe like, pump the brakes, maybe do one project at a time if he can. And maybe that's why like, hey, like some of this stuff, like if you're going to be the co-head of the studio, maybe, delegate. Maybe you don't need to write and direct every episode of every show. Like maybe you just focus
Yeah.
on Superman or just focus on Peacemaker and let someone else do the movie and you do the show or vice versa. And
Yeah. That's
think,
a lot. That's a lot
yeah,
for any one person.
yeah, I think you might get a better product that way.
Payoff.
But
Yeah.
still, like I said, it's a very good season of TV. And
Well, all right.
but it is one of those things where, did the show stick the landing? I don't know that it did. But I mean,
Okay.
that's the thing is it kind of stuck the landing like 3 times, but then there was another landing, and you're just like, how many more landings do we have to have?
Was it like rewatching Return of the King and you think
Yeah.
like every like closure of a character
Right.
story is the closure of the whole movie and you're like, okay, I gotta go to the bathroom. Oh no, wait, there's more.
Yeah. And of course I don't want to finish before I talk about how the fact in Earth 2, whenever his friends finally find him, well, his brother Keith and his dad now know that like their son and their brother has been killed. And they're on to the fact that there's an imposter Peacemaker in this world. However, like you think, okay, well, they're these Nazis. Well, then we come to find out that actually Peacemaker's dad in season 2 is not a Nazi. And he's actually a good person who's just trying to do his best in this like crazy world. His son, however, I wouldn't really call him a Nazi, but I think he's just so used to how the world is that he's the one who was like, trying to round up Adebayo, who of course is a black woman, like, so you have this like weird dynamic. And while, basically the dad and the brother wants to kill Peacemaker because he's like, hey, he killed my brother. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, his dad's like, no, no, no. He's like, we're gonna let them go back to their world. We don't want anybody here to know that we have an interdimensional portal, so they can go back to their world. We're gonna stay here, and as it seems like that's gonna happen, the Peacemaker's friends show up. They barge in the door. Vigilante kills his dad in front of him. This is his dad too, Earth 2 version of his dad, who
Mhm.
has just kind of defended him. So he's watching his dad die again. Then the brother tries to fight him off. They attack the brother. They almost kill the brother. Peacemaker loses it and like sells, he's like, stop. By the way, the sirens are on my end. So if you're hearing the sirens, that's all me over here.
That's all Justin.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
But
Uh,
so the brother just watched his dad die and he's being beaten up by Peacemaker's friends. And then Peacemaker jumps in and is like, hey, stop. It's like, what the hell's wrong with us? Like, why are we this way? And
mhm.
his brother is bloodied and about to die. And Peacemaker says, hey, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. And, the brother's like, why'd you do this to us? How did you do this to us? And Peacemaker realizes like, hey, like, I'm the angel of death. He's like, all I do is like, I killed my dad in my world. I killed my brother in my world. Come here. I kill myself in this world. I kill my dad again. I almost kill my brother.
Yeah.
The brother, though, is left to live. And by the way they linger on him on episode 7 as it ends, I think he might return as like a villain because
Oh,
it's definitely like, he's gonna want retribution for what happened.
yeah, for
But
sure.
one of the shocking turns in that episode is the fact that Peacemaker's dad, Augie Smith in Earth 2, is not the horrible person. He's still better than the Earth 1 version of his dad.
Oh,
And I don't
wow.
think anybody saw that coming because we thought, okay, it's this Nazi world. Obviously, in Earth 1, his dad is a white supremacist. So like
Mhm.
clearly he's going to be the same thing or worse in this other world. Turns out that's not the case.
Oh,
And the dad is very understanding. He's like, hey, like, he's like, you know what? You told me you accidentally killed my son. I believe that it was an accident. He's like, he's telling the brother, he's like, your brother, I loved him, but like he was a fuck up. Like he did, yeah, he was on
damn.
drugs. He was on alcohol and drugs and like he had all these problems. And like, you know, I I believe this guy when he says he didn't mean to kill him. And
Mhm.
then of course we see the dad die right in front of Peacemaker once again because his friends they think they're coming to save him
Mhm.
when it's already been determined he's gonna be free to go. So
Damn.
pretty crazy stuff. Pretty um you know, Christopher Smith's life is pretty rough, whether it's in Earth 1 or Earth 2.
It sounds like it. Dude,
Yeah,
how unfortunate.
yeah. And then he ends the season with, he's stuck in Salvation, a whole whole 'nother planet. So, by himself, we're led to well, at least there's no other person there. There's definitely some creatures or dinosaurs or something that's gonna be coming after him, but,
Dinosaurs.
there could be dinosaurs.
Could be the Fast and the Furious with the Jurassic Park,
Could
man.
be. It definitely could be.
And you get
So,
Vin Diesel come out, "I am Groot." I'm just kidding. We're talking about all these crossovers, fandoms.
yeah.
I mean, James Gunn's world, who knows?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's so much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that probably does it, I guess, for the season. Again, like I do recommend the show. I think it's a very good show. It's just the finale was not what everyone was kind of looking for, I guess. I mean, like it's tough to please everyone, but
So what would your overall letter grade be for Peacemaker season 2?
I'd go A minus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Still
it's
still
it's
pretty
still
good.
really
Still
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Alright.
Oh, I mean, like
Alright.
Peacemaker season 2 is better than anything Marvel's done on TV. Like, not even close.
Fair enough.
Seriously, yeah,
No,
there's nothing
I
close to
believe you.
that.
Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah. Again, sirens are on my end, so, don't worry if you're listening to us while you're driving or something. It's all me.
Yeah. That's happened to me before when I'm driving and I'm listening to a pod. I'm like, "What? Where where are they? I hear them, but I can't see them."
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah.
so I guess, like, what's next for the DCU? Lanterns is coming in early January, or maybe all I know is early 2026. We don't have a date yet, so, we'll see that it's supposed to be like a True Detective style show. I don't know. Did you watch True Detective, Brittany?
I did not.
You did not.
I did
Okay.
not. Sorry.
I only watched the first season, or maybe I watched the first two. It's an anthology show, so like like every season is a different cast, different storyline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it that sounds familiar, but
yeah,
I never watched it.
yeah. No, it's a very good show. So this is
Okay.
supposedly a superhero kind of version of that kind of show. So
All right.
we'll see how that plays out. And then we have Supergirl coming to theaters June 26, 2026. And then Man of Tomorrow is slated for July 9th, 2027. So that's what's next for the DCU. As far as what's next for Peacemaker, I mean, here's what's crazy is James Gunn has said that it's doesn't sound like there's going to be a Peacemaker season 3.
Oh.
So obviously it's a tremendous cliffhanger with Peacemaker being left in this salvation planet.
Yee.
So we will see him again, but it's not clear when.
When?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that goes for the rest of the characters. I mean, it's it's an
Nice.
ensemble cast on the show. And I mean, I think, there's really all the characters are so well, acted, and it's a great cast.
Mhm.
It's kind of a bummer if this is the final episode of Peacemaker. I really hope the season, there's a season 3 or even 4. I mean, I think the show could continue, but I think we will see these characters again. It's just not clear where and how. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they continue that storyline if there's not a season 3. So,
Yeah.
um, I did
Okay.
hear something crazy today that James Gunn, who is very, very good friends with Ryan Reynolds, they
Mhm.
apparently James Gunn pitched the idea of there's a scene in episode in the finale where the Argus agents are looking for this planet salvation. So they're going through all these doorways, right? And they're going to these
Mhm.
crazy worlds. Like there's this one world that's like on fire. And there's like these giant
Oh,
skulls.
don't tell me what I think you're gonna tell me.
And so James Gunn wanted to go through one door and Deadpool was going to be there. Now, granted, that would be like a
Okay, I thought you were gonna say, the Ryan Reynolds, DC movie flop, Green Lantern. I thought you were gonna tell me that and be like, "Oh,
no,
geez,
no,
here we
no.
go."
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
I mean, that at least would make sense. It's still part of that
Yeah.
universe over there, not so much the Deadpool thing, but
Yeah. But that was like his idea of like, wouldn't it be funny if like we open a door and Deadpool's there? Um, so obviously that
that
would
would
have
be
taken,
funny. That would actually be
cooperation by
pretty
Marvel. And I do think that eventually we will get a crossover between Marvel and DC because especially if the movies continue to underperform for both studios, eventually we'll see that. I mean, think about like, Alien versus Predator happened because those two properties weren't doing very well. Freddie and
Yeah.
Jason came together because their individual movies weren't doing it. So
Sadly,
I
I saw that movie too. That
yeah,
was rough.
yeah. I don't think it's crazy to think that within the next 10 years we could get a Avengers versus Justice League or like a Superman and Spider-Man movie or something. That could definitely
Okay.
happen. But I think had Deadpool been in this season, that would have been really funny. Like it would have been
Mhm.
cool. I think people would have loved it, but
Mhm.
obviously there's a lot of legal things to
Oh,
clear before you can make
God,
that
yes.
happen. And yeah, so
Yeah, you kidding me?
but fun idea. I give him
Yeah,
credit for trying to make it happen.
for sure.
That's not an everyday kind of thing where you can do that. And it's
No.
funny because Peacemaker, he kind of he's not the same as Deadpool really at all, but
Mhm.
he's kind of becoming the DCU's
Version
Deadpool.
of Deadpool.
Kind of, yeah. It's like
Mm.
he's a character that can kind of be anywhere at any time, sort of.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, given the fact that the dimensional portals and all that kind of stuff, but I mean,
Right.
also just the fact that John Cena can kind of play in anything. Like he really
And
has
he's
come a long
funny.
way. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
tremendously funny, but I've listened to a lot of interviews about him for this season, and like everyone just raves about how like he's like he can play piano, he speaks Mandarin, he is like
Wait, in real life, he plays piano and speaks Mandarin?
yeah, yeah.
No way. That's cool.
Oh yeah, well in season 1 he has a part in the show where he plays a piano. I think he plays Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue, and he actually is
Okay.
playing it. Yeah, yeah. So
All right. A man of
So
many talents.
yeah.
Very cool.
So but they
Very,
said
very
like
cool.
he like memorizes his lines like super fast, and he's like doesn't they don't have to do a lot of takes with John Cena. Like like
He
he
can get
does.
through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, he also is like very good at improving. A lot of
Okay.
years of being a wrestler in front of a live crowd where he's things don't always go the way they're planned, and so you kind of have
Yeah,
to
so he can
pivot.
improvise. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
improvise and
Pretty good.
adjust. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff
Yeah.
with the show, and I like I said, it's you really should check it out. I think
Okay.
it's a good show. I think it's a fun show. It's a show that like I said, like the pacing for the first 7 episodes was like so perfect, and then like
Mhm.
episode 7 or episode 8 was the finale was just a little bit longer, and it just
Didn't quite
didn't
hit.
feel like the same show in a lot of ways,
Mm,
which is a
that's really unfortunate.
it's a bummer, but no, these are great characters, and I think that they can have a long run in this DCU, and I'm definitely looking
Alright.
forward to seeing what's next with this crew, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything I didn't mention because I have pages full of notes that I took about this show, but
It's only so much time in a day, Justin.
yeah, I know. I just trying to hit all the high points at least, but
I think you did, considering that I have no idea what you're talking about. But
yeah,
I think you
yeah,
probably hit it.
I think I did.
I think you did. I believe in you. I believe in you.
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say is I couldn't recommend Peacemaker season 2 more. I mean, obviously watch Peacemaker season 1 if you haven't seen it. I think if you watch Peacemaker season 1, you'll be hooked. I think after the first episode, you'll be hooked in, and you'll fly through the episodes, and yeah, it's a good show. So
All right.
that about does it for our wrap up of Peacemaker season 2 and our discussion about Marvel, all that's coming in Marvel for 2026, and our thoughts on the 2025 slate, which is now in the books. So,
And by our, we mean Justin.
well, no, you had your thoughts on Marvel also. So,
A little bit, but not nearly as much to offer
yeah.
as you. So yeah, there we are.
So yeah, Brittany. So now everyone knows what we think about these different projects and companies and all
Yeah.
this good stuff. We want to know what y'all think about it. How can you let us know?
Well, as always, we encourage everyone to join us for our live chats. Shout out once again to those in today's live chat: Derpy Entertainment, King B. Johnson, The Last, and last but certainly not least, Yesenia. Thank you so much for taking time out of y'all's day to join us and to share your thoughts about Peacemaker Season 2, as well as your thoughts on the Marvel slate of 2025 and what's coming our way next year. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, we appreciate you taking the moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. Let's get to that by the end of 2025. And also, don't forget to hit the like button and hit that notification bell. That way, you know the next time we go live, because Justin, we do have more content on the way.
We do. We do.
We do. Yes. Before I forget, we also have all of our social media links in the description box down below. Give us a follow on all those platforms, as well as check out our audio podcasts available to you on Apple and Spotify and many other platforms. We hope you also consider following us there and giving us a 5-star rating.
Yeah, I was going to say we're going to do the Haunting of Hill House. That's our next thing we're doing. We're doing
Spooky season's here, y'all.
We're doing 2 pods about the Haunting of Hill House, which is on Netflix, and it's a 10-episode show. We're going to do the first 5 episodes next week, and then the following week we will do the final 5. It is a spooky season show. It is a request from our Halloween queen, Amber. So Amber will be back, of course, to help us out because she knows everything about that show and has seen it like a billion times and literally knows everything you could possibly know about that show. So,
and we're Jon Snow and we know nothing.
Yes.
We know nothing.
And then also in the next couple weeks, we're going to be wrapping up the 2nd season of Gen V.
Yes,
which
finally.
I am still a couple episodes behind on, so I've got to watch that to get caught up.
Dare you?
So we will also be discussing Gen V, which is one of the boys spinoff shows. So
how dare you be
Yep.
behind? But it's okay, I was too.
Yep.
So yeah, we hope to see y'all back here on our YouTube channel, The Watchers in the Basement. Once again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and we will see y'all next time. Justin, you want to close it out for us?
I do. So Thank you, Brittany. So for Brittany, I am Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye bye.